Hi, I'm Kanchan Gupta, and we have Ambassador Vivek Katju with us, a veteran diplomat. He has served in the AFPAC region, and I think you are one of the very few who understands the region and its politics so well. To my mind, of all the things the Prime Minister said today from Red Fort, the most important thing was the declaration of support for Balochistan.
I think in foreign policy terms, this has been truly path-breaking. He referred to this in the all parties meeting on August 12th. But I think no one would have expected that he would refer to Balochistan and so directly in his address to the nation from the Red Fort. And he put it in a fairly unique manner by thanking the people of Balochistan and of Gilgit and POK as he put it, though to me all areas of Pakistan, of Jammu,
Occupied Kashmir.
of Jammu and Kashmir, the state of Jammu and Kashmir occupied by Pakistan, are Pakistan occupied Kashmir, by thanking them for their response to his mentioning about the human rights situations and Pakistan's record of trampling human rights in Balochistan and in POK.
You know, to my mind, this mention of Pakistan occupied Kashmir, it is significant but not that significant because there's an all-party parliament resolution that Pakistan occupied Kashmir is the unfinished agenda of partition as far as India is concerned. And we have always treated it as our territory, and we have never conceded that Pakistan has any right on that territory. But when it comes to Balochistan, you really are taking the battle into Pakistan. So to that extent, it does mark a tectonic shift.
Yes, it marks a major shift. But let's take the first thing, the mention of Pakistan occupied Kashmir. That too was exceedingly important in foreign policy terms because no Prime Minister in the past has mentioned it so directly. The fact that Pakistan illegally and forcibly occupies that territory, which is ours, is well known. The fact that that territory is ours is rooted in our constitution. In 1994, Parliament merely gave expression to the position of the constitution. But you are right, Balochistan is Pakistan's territory. There is a certain history to the amalgamation of Balochistan into Pakistan, and the Baloch nationalists have never accepted that amalgamation was justified or legal. But as far as India is concerned, we've never contested the fact that Balochistan is not a Pakistani territory. But I think the intention of the Prime Minister was completely clear. He was signalling to Pakistan and also to the international community that if Pakistan persists in its negativity towards India, if Pakistan persists in not responding to the hand of friendship which Mr. Modi extended right from the time that he assumed office, then Pakistan will have to pay a price.
No, but if you look at it this way, that the last time he mentioned Balochistan was at the all-party meeting on Kashmir, where he mentions it in the context of Pakistani atrocities being committed, both in Balochistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and how Pakistan is now answerable to the world for the atrocities it's committing. But that was reported speech. The Home Minister came out of the meeting, and while addressing the press, I mean, if you notice, he actually read out from a prepared text. That was reported speech, so it was still open to interpretation. What exactly did he say? What exactly did he mean? But this is an open declaration from the ramparts of the Red Fort on Independence Day. The entire global fraternity of diplomats based in New Delhi, they are present over there. So the messaging is far deeper and far wider.
Look, what has he said?
It's what he has not said that is more important.
You are right, but let us first see what he has said. What he has said is a continuation of what he had said to the all parties meeting on Kashmir on August 12. There he had said that Pakistan's record in Balochistan is so abysmal that it really doesn't lie in its mouth to point fingers to any other country with regard to human rights. He had denounced the glorification of terrorists, which he did today too. So it is in that context that he had raised it, in the context of human rights. He did not deviate from that. And as Prime Minister, what he was doing today was not a call for the Baloch insurgents or the Baloch nationalists to rise up. He was not doing that. He was expressing empathy and sympathy both for the Balochis in the context of human rights. Now, naturally, the very word Balochistan and the Indian Prime Minister raising Balochistan would attract great attention all over the world, especially in Pakistan.
If you remember that when Prime Minister Manmohan Singh met Pakistan's Prime Minister Yusuf Ali Jilani
That's right.
on the sidelines of the
Sharm el-Sheikh
non-aligned summit at Sharm el-Sheikh, they came out with a joint statement in which there was one sentence mentioned that Prime Minister Jilani also raised the Balochistan issue, or words to that effect. And there was a huge uproar over it in India, in the Indian establishment, in your former office, and everybody was aghast that how could the Prime Minister even concede space for the mention of the word Balochistan. But today you have a complete reversal of that situation. You have, I mean, it's like a 180 degrees turnaround.
You are right. There was, I think, justifiable anger in the country in 2009 when the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh agreed to the inclusion of Balochistan in the joint statement that issued at Sharm el-Sheikh after his meeting with the Pakistani Prime Minister Yusuf Ali Gilani. But what was that in context of? It was in the context of the Pakistanis claiming, which they still do, of Indian interference in Balochistan's affairs. You know that some months ago, I think it was in March, that they raised this concoction of the retired Indian naval officer Kulbhushan Jadhav as being tasked by our intelligence agencies not only to undertake espionage but also to foment trouble in Balochistan and Karachi. Now this is total concoction. So that was the context in 2009 of Indian interference. You are right, today the Prime Minister has raised the question of human rights violations in Balochistan. Naturally, the Balochi nationalists will give it their own interpretation, and they've greatly welcomed this. And that is what the Prime Minister was responding to today.
Yeah,
so it marks
when you say that they would greatly welcome it, within seconds,
yes, of course,
all of Twitter was awash
yes,
with Baloch nationalists messaging the Prime Minister directly. Now, in that context, the other point which needs to be made is that the US Congress has been repeatedly expressing concern over what's happening in Balochistan. I mean, at least I know of 2 hearings that have taken place on this. And as you know, right now they are on a collision course. I mean, there's great hostility. They've held up $300 million meant for Pakistan. You think that somewhere this whole thing of India raising Balochistan from subcontinent will find an echo in Washington DC?
No, on the other hand, I expect that they'll be deeply concerned because what the Americans and the West in general wants above all is that there should be a maintenance of equilibrium between India and Pakistan. What I think they will notice is that Indian patience is coming to an end, and that is why there will be great anxiety. Because the West has been, America in particular, has been used to a flexible India, an India accepting provocation from Pakistan and being restrained in its reaction. For the first time, I think they will understand that Indian patience is coming to an end. And that, to my mind, is perhaps the most significant message that is going out to the world by the Prime Minister mentioning Balochistan.
But let me also make a very mischievous suggestion over here. Till now, the Indian position has been that a stable, politically stable, economically prosperous Pakistan is in India's interest. India has a stake in a stable Pakistan. But Pakistan never sort of suggested any matching stake in a politically stable.
No, on the other
Pakistan.
hand, Kanchan, the Pakistani...
They have been inflicting 1,000 cuts.
That's been their basic policy.
So now,
India.
is the unstated message, like I said, what has not been said is more important, is the unstated message that has gone out from Red Fort today, is that if Pakistan thinks that it doesn't have a stake in a stable India, in India's territorial unity and integrity, then it should not expect India to have a stake in a stable, politically stable Pakistan, or to sort of attach any sanctity to Pakistan's territorial integrity
I
and
would
unity.
nuance this a bit. I think what India is unmistakably sending is a message to Pakistan that it should not assume that the old position that India has of a concern for stability of Pakistan is going to persist if Pakistan's negativity continues as it has persisted in the past. That is the simple message, to my mind, that the Indian establishment at the highest level, the Prime Minister, is sending across to Pakistan.
Don't take us for granted.
Don't assume that Indian behavior in the past will continue to be so in the future.
So it is a tectonic shift to that extent.
I would say that it is today a signal of a potential major shift in Indian policy.
A last point. Does this sudden raising of the human rights situation in Balochistan, apart from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, remind you of Mrs Indira Gandhi going about the same way in before aligning India openly with the Bangladesh liberation struggle? She kept on raising this whole suppression of human rights, the oppressive methods being used by the Pakistani army, and that is how she tried to build a global consensus, which didn't happen. And finally, India then said that, look, we tried our best, we explained, we tried to tell you.
No, but if you go back to the history of 1971, India did all that only after it had received 5 to 7 million refugees from Bangladesh, which following the Pakistani military's
We can open our borders now.
Genocide, which the number went up to 10 million. So Mrs. Gandhi at that stage was explaining to the world that, look, India cannot bear this burden in perpetuity, and she was appealing to the world, to the Americans in particular, to change course.
What if Baloch were to seek refuge in India, Baloch nationalists?
I think we should not overlook the fact of geography. Please see where Balochistan is located on the map.
Yeah, but there are various ways and means
No,
of...
I don't think that the situation is
Comparable.
Is comparable. I think for the time being, the Prime Minister has been very upset, and correctly so, at the Pakistani overreaction and going sort of hammer and tongs against India for the developments which have taken place in the Kashmir Valley following the death of the terrorist Burhan Wani.
Before we end this chat, how do you see this escalating? What is the possible next step of intervention?
Well, I think two things will happen. One, the Pakistanis will...
They will go ballistic.
Oh, they will go ballistic today. They'll really be very upset. And I also think that great concern will be shown by the major powers, the Americans in particular, and that will have to be resisted. There will be pressure now for Delhi to cool down. There will be perhaps greater attention internationally to what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir. So it will open up avenues for diplomatic activity, international diplomatic activity, and the government will have to be prepared for it. I welcome this move by the Prime Minister to show to the Pakistanis that the rules of the game, as far as India is concerned, may be changing, and they better beware. And this is also a signal to the international community. But their stamina will have to be shown.
Thank you.